As a geographer, over the last 15 years, I've walked about 22,000 miles, as you can see right here. What have I seen on those 22,000 miles? Our amazing diverse planet has lots of ecoregions and biomes, but I've walked in many of these ecoregions and biomes, from the taiga to ice, glaciers, riparian zones, woodlands, prairies, deserts, mountains, and lots of urban areas as well, including some floodplains, as you can see here. I have seen places that are walkable, places that are not very walkable, as you can see right here. Lots of crosswalks, lots of commercial areas, residential areas, industrial areas. I've observed what's on the ground, such as acorns, seeds, trash, plants. I've seen abandoned buildings, like this humongous one here, fences of various kinds, aggregate, different kinds of river stones or lava rocks or quartz that people have in their lawns. I've seen some very interesting things that are puzzling on the landscape. I've seen some wonderful community art, Wimberley's boots and these dogs in Fort Worth. I've been to drainage divides like this one here in Iowa, dividing the Missouri from the Mississippi River watershed. I've hiked in some pretty spectacular places like the Sachsenhöhe in Switzerland, and I've seen places where the mountains are actually held back, like this one in Colorado. I've walked on every continent except for South America and Antarctica. I've seen different things going into the ground, overhead, flowers, plants, shrubs, many coastlines and rivers, wetlands, bogs, marshes. I've seen all kinds of sunrises and sunsets, like this spectacular one, as well as just about every kind of weather: hail, snow, rain, fog. I've walked under lots of freeways, lots of underpasses. I love bridges, so I don't mind walking under, over, around. Lots of coastlines like this one in the North Sea, different kinds of tree species, and in all seasons of the year. And in some places that have a wet season and a dry season rather than a traditional winter, spring, summer, fall. I've seen lots of animals, domesticated and wild, on these hikes. Some trails that are well maintained, some that aren't. I've seen lots of commercial establishments, abandoned, thriving, large, small. I've seen people out there in the landscape doing various things, scientific work, having fun, and other activities. Lots of signs. I love signs, road signs, railroad signs, city limits, art, as you can see here, infrastructure, how people manage their spaces in urban and rural areas, and clouds. I love clouds of all types, including these lenticularis clouds. Here's one of the bridges I was mentioning that I walk under frequently. I've seen lots of changes on the landscape. Urbanization, deforestation, reforestation, erosion, landslide scars, earthquake scars, public transportation, private transportation, utility lines going in or coming out, and some truly spectacular landscapes on the planet, as you can see right here. I encourage you to get out there in the field, collect data, map it, analyze it, and use that information to think about the world and how it could be more resilient, more sustainable, how we can restructure our public spaces a bit better so that we have these thriving areas where people can raise their families and truly be healthy instead of, massive amounts of concrete like you see here. I've seen lots of seasonal decorations over the years, as you can see here. I've also seen things that I frankly don't know what this building actually is. But I love when cities and communities have a identifying sign like this big one in Midland, Texas. So look around, and don't forget to look down. There's some interesting things on the ground as well, and signages of all kinds are fascinating about destinations. These signs actually tell you the destination by how far it takes to walk on foot. I love this kind of vegetation in California and here in Colorado, the Rocky Mountain Front Range. And I've also walked with lots of interesting animals, cattle, goats, sheep, and beside lots and lots of vehicles, and sometimes other walkers, hikers, bikers as well. I'm always reflecting on walkability in communities. Again, I encourage you to get out there on the landscape, as Richard Louv talks about in Last Child in the Woods, that wonderful book. It's important that we get out there and observe our wonderful, diverse, amazing planet and take steps to make it even more amazing in the future. Thanks.